Good evening and a warm welcome to the SES webinar on the world-class manufacturing industrial complex. May I now introduce you to the moderator and speakers for today. Uday Dharmadhikari, Chairman and Advisory Committee, Indus Strategy Advisors and Managing Partner, Rebuild LLP. An innovative thinker with overall experience of more than 39 years and business leader for 18 years, is known for brand building, creating profitable and sustainable business units, strategic alliances or partnerships in India and overseas, and growing up the startup organization or business units to maturity level with extensive experience and expertise in contract and project development management. He has also developed and implemented more than 10 million square feet of real estate projects in the field of residential, commercial, hospitality, affordable housing, retail educational institute, healthcare, etc. Now our speakers, Prashant Deshmukh, Principal Architect, Prashant Deshmukh and Associates, a ranker from JJ College of Architecture with an experience of over 40 years. He has designed and executed many industrial, commercial, and educational projects, which have won him highest appreciation at the national level. Prashant has received awards for his professional contribution on many projects. Deshmukh's papers in architecture, project management, professional practice have been published by leading newspapers and architectural magazines. Up next, Mr. Vasudev Rao, Director Engineering and HOD, Zamel Steel Buildings India Private Limited. With a BE Civil from Gogte Institute Technology, Belgaum, and PG Diploma in Business Management from IGNOU, New Delhi, is currently working as a Director and HOD Engineering with Zamel Steel Buildings India Private Limited. Vasudev is a responsible senior engineering professional with 30+ years varied experience in the fields of civil, structural, and project engineering. He is adept at developing and implementing business strategies to improve operations efficiency and committed to motivating and grooming staff to achieve goals while ensuring efficient progress. Requesting all the attendees to please participate in the poll and do write the name of the speaker whom you would like to address in the question, address the question during the Q&A session. Also do subscribe to our YouTube channel, SES TV, where we are live now and where you could get access to all the webinars and steel construction updates. Over to you, Mr. Dharmadhikari. So please unmute yourself.
Good evening, everyone. I think it's my pleasure to be a part of, one of the most desired technical webinar, and that to a steel construction, which is going to be probably a most desired things in the days to come because of the situation which we are in today, And I'm very happy that my co-panelists or the main speakers of today, Prashant Deshmukh and Vasudev Rao, who belongs to the Zamel Steel India, Let me give you the introduction of the first is architect Prashant Deshmukh, and then I will come to the, Mr. Vasudev Rao. Basically, the both do not need an introduction, but let me do it and give it to you some of the insight of the both of them, Now, let me just start with the architect Prashant Deshmukh. Architect Prashant Deshmukh is a gold medalist from JJ College of Architecture. If you have to really look at it, an architect who is innovative, who is adaptable to changes, I think you must look at Prashant Deshmukh. He started his career as an hotel, Taj Hotel interior designing. And can you imagine, over a period of 30 years, he has come to a designing of one of the world-class industrial manufacturing facilities. This can only happen if a person is innovative, he is adaptable to the changes and keeps himself aware of the technology which is happening and changing across not only the India, but across the globe, So it's very important that he has kept this one. He has designed many projects of, residential, commercial, industrial, hotels, And he has come from there in the last more than 3 decades of his experience. I was associated with him for a couple of years, and we had won. Can you imagine an hospital project award in Goa, in Marmugua Port Trust, designing of the hospital project? So you can imagine of a variety of the projects which is designed it completely with an innovative style of doing the job, and that's the very greatness of an architect. An architect has to be creative, but only creativeness does adapted to the situation and innovative. So he has been that. He is not only designing the system, he is also now doing a project management, project engineering services. He has got an excellent associates with him, and I really think that he will probably do one of the best in years to come. He has done excellent in the past, and I'm sure he will do the best of the thing. As regarding this particular project, I will leave it once they start giving the details of the projects. They will really take it up and probably give you the every minute detail of the project, how this has become the world-class facilities. Thank you. Now I will just come to Mr. Vasudev Rao. Mr. Vasudev Rao is in more than about 25 years of an experience in oil and gas sectors, in chemical and fertilizer sectors, and have come to the engineering design. He has been excellent designer over a period of time. He has been associated with the Zamil Steel for more than 6 years now. Okay, and really one of the very good designer. Not only this, he is a director engineering with the Zamil India Steel, and which is really one of the, he has got a very, very great career for the past 25 years. That is about the Mr. Vasudev Rao. Now let me just come to the Zamil Steel. Zamil Steel Holding is a parent company from Saudi Arabia, which has got about a 40 years of presence across the various geographies in the world. They are based out of Saudi Arabia, Vietnam. Their headquarters is Saudi Arabia. They have gotten other facilities in the Vietnam, Egypt, UAE, and India. Zamil Steel India started in 2008. They have a huge facilities, approximately about 87,000 square meter of an area. The production capacity, the installed capacity is about 100,000 metric ton. Okay, and they have done more than 1,200 projects across the country.
Carol, I think we have lost the...
Yes, sir. I suppose, sir, you can start the presentation.
Shanji, can you share the screen and start the presentation, please?
Shall I start?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Almost about 400 million square feet of an area. Can you imagine this? Hello.
Prashantji, you need to start your presentation. I think.
Okay. Good evening, viewers, and good evening, friends as well. At the outset, let me thank the MX Business Media for giving this opportunity to share one of the thrilling experiences I had in creating this wonderful world standard industrial complex for Koni Cranes. The story, my dear friends, started in where the WMI cranes at Bhandup was taken over by this Finland company of Koni Cranes, and WMI coincidentally also had a similar kind of a project in Jejuri, which was also taken over. And then we also went for another new plot where this greenfield project was to be raised. So across the same campus, I'm just showing you the Google images of both. We are just about 50 kilometers from Pune. This is the Jejuri MIDC, and this is a landmark project as far as MIDC is concerned. We have two projects, therefore. The one was the retrofitting project, which was J1, and the other one was the greenfield project, which is J2. Both together almost had a land area of around 25 acres. We did everything, that is architectural as well as interiors, the kitchen design, the structural consultancy, the electrical, compressed air, firefighting, and all the services as well as landscape. And the entire support was given by Zamil, who in fact initially recommended us for this project, and thanks to them for that. And then ultimately, together we actually went through this project. And this is the master plan of this first unit, which is a greenfield project. That's the main road that you see across. And then we had these 5 bays of 26 meter each. Then moving on to, because of the shape of the size of the site, we had to actually squeeze in the length as well. So starting from 200 meters, we had to go into about 130 meters at the end. Then it was abetting a ancillary building which was comprising of all the supervisory offices and the canteen and all that. And then we had a very iconic office building to be placed there in a secluded area. And we had no other area left, but that was the utilities. And you will see that all these were gelling together as a campus design as far as this particular unit design was concerned. Now, these are few interesting photographs which I am trying to show you. We have developed this with a very little different kind of a color scheme of light and dark gray, which is very popular in Europe, as you all know. The C is the logo of the Pony Cranes. And I tried to sort of just touch base with their very famous, popular, world over popular color, the red color. And we took the RAL shade from them, and thanks to Zamil that they could get all that red sheets, those sheets specially painted, specially pre-coated for us, and they were used everywhere across the project. We also had a big slope of 9.5 meters in the project, and that, the condition of the clients was that they wanted to have one level, basically because it was going to be a heavy engineering project. And then, with the normal structural designers would go for an RCC retaining wall, or maybe a plumb concrete retaining wall. But we actually ventured into what is known as the Gabion wall. And we had a Gabion wall, then we had a pin joint, because Gabion is a flexible unit, as you all know. And then we had a rigid compound wall standing over it with a kind of a pin detail. We had actually worked out very well with Zamil for all those 5 bays, which I will actually revisit on this issue when I explain on that. So PEB erection, PEB wall girds were the stages, but the very important thing is around 42 different cranes within the factory. Now, these cranes were EOT cranes and at the same time wall traveler cranes. Probably for the first time in Asia, this kind of a complex crane design within the building was to be done. We have kind of pioneered the PEB construction in India. We always say that. Although there are PEB agencies coming from abroad, like the branded companies like Kirby and Zamil and so many other companies that have come in India today. But then we have formalized how we can actually select an agency. So the format is being shown to you, and we kind of fill up the gaps so that the PEB agency rightfully knows what is the job like. So we have as the length and the width, the center to center column spacing that we are looking at, the kind of roof slope that we want, and the type of bracing on the walls that we need or we do not need. It is to be specified. We have the specific roof panels to be raised. Similarly, the wall panels, like in certain projects, we have also used sandwiched galvanum wall panels. Then we have girds, accessories. We specify the accessories as well, or we discuss across the suppliers. Most of the time we nowadays go with the polycarbonate roof lighting, so that the entire production hall is always lit, and we don't have to spend more onto the electrical lighting as such. We also, go for the framed opening for wherever the openings are, for the rolling shutters and all that. And also, specifically, we write about the canopy design and the specific paint finishes that we require. Now, this is the plan of that building, which unfortunately we had to do it in 2 phases because of the slope of the ground, as I said. So the rest of the light yellow area that you see, we were still doing the kind of, refilling with the broom and then trying to actually roll it out. But the first area of 200 meters that we started with, it comprises of 26 meters, 5 bays with heavy loading, as I explained to you. And so this first phase was consisting of 200 meters by 52 meters. This had a big height as well. And, you can see some pictures there where we are trying to show you how these different grids were worked out. Now this is a brief which explains about the number of cranes that we were considering, the EOTs. I'm not showing the wall cranes there, but and the rails in the flooring for the movement of the crane once they are fabricated. And for these rails, we had specifically a beam design below the floor. Now, this all was integrated to give a very beautiful production surface. These are the elevations that you can see. They came out of the color scheme that we had decided. PDA always believes in continuous glazing at the work level and the roof level glazing. Now, this gives you a tremendous amount of light in the production area and takes care of the air changes that the factory inspector specifies. 6 air changes. We normally give around 8 to 10 air changes at times without getting into the artificial ventilation also. The lower portion actually shows, how we had designed the ancillary building, which also had tinges of the red color that we were using for the main building. Now, these are the stages where we actually started in the first bay with the installation of the PB structurals, as we call primary and the secondary ones. This is before you get on to the roofing sheets. Then you get onto the roofing sheets with roof lights. And then finally, we come to the cladding side. And these are the wall girds. I'll come to revisit the wall gird part also. And finally, you get a entire industry as we had drafted out. Just you can compare the elevation and the actual product. You will find that it is 100% the same. As far as the interiors was concerned, I'm trying to explain you the gable wall first, which is onto the, that's where here. We had a cutout totally, which, normally a gable would have gable columns, as they call it, wind columns in some bracing somewhere. They were not allowed by the client because they wanted to take out the cranes, that is their main product. And so we had the crane, the crane stuff, which was at the higher level with the brackets and the service platforms. But then we had what is called as a jack beam to take care of that entire spanned opening. The lower photographs is a very interesting photograph where you can see the cranes at different levels, along with the wall traveler cranes, the first time in Asia. And the structural design was more challenging for the PEB designers. We also started with certain service staircases within the production area, because we wanted to reach the service platforms and also the various services brackets which were taken along with the service piping. So these staircases, I'm trying to show you a sketch where we started with the staircase design. And I discussed with the PB guys and I just asked them whether we can have a very, very lovely and interesting staircase, as you see, which was done ultimately in SS. And that has become a very attraction point in the production itself, along with the functionality. We, of course, take a lot of efforts onto the sections. Normally, there is a problem between, when you have this PEB design as to where do we take the walls. So we have evolved a system where we have a wall which is little away from the main steel member, along with padding of the propelling sheets. And then we have the windows, and at the special detailing is done at the window seal level and the window top level. So window top level, we ask for a special flashing from these people and the C-gird. So this C-gird is specially designed to take, take that width away out of the steel column, and also actually take care of the window top member. Whereas the stepped seal actually takes care of the window bottom member, and that is how I can have the running glazing across, hiding the columns, so you don't see any columns outside, you don't see any down text from outside, and the building looks as a building, as a very clean and streamlined building. The detailing for the foundation, you can see that we detail this out with a specially designed beam at the column size that takes care of the base plate of the main steel member, and also actually acts as a base for the brickwork to be raised. Now this is what I was talking about, the downtakes that we design in the gutters, where you will find that this is how the water is taken out. On the right side, you see a base plate of a column, and you also see a stormwater drain which passes through the production area. And we had no option because there were 5 bays of 26 meters, so we needed to take the stormwater, and this was taken through that with some inspection chambers at certain levels. But this was also very well designed, and we don't have any problem of any leakage or any water coming over into the production area over so many years after the project has been done. This is the ancillary building which takes care of the canteen on the first floor, the stores on the ground floor, and the supervisory officers and the facilities for the workers. So this was the main thing here again is the kissing of the column of the RCC building and the steel building. And when you see I'm trying to show you this particular triangle here. This is the beauty of the complex, the campus design. When you think of these, when you think of the total perspective, that has to be visualized, and we try to add on certain elements. Now the first floor canteen is added. You can see that it overlooks into the production area. You also have a space frame to the office building, which casts a very beautiful game of play of light and shadow onto the ground. We have all the road links, and each road is having a building. And this building now on that you see here is actually a service building, a utility building. And the utility building is given a masking wall. And today, if you see it, it is just a combination of the grays and the greens onto the wall. So if you visit today, it is all green. So, the landscape plays well, the logo stands out there, and it becomes a part of the campus. So actually, even in industry, I believe, like the residential or commercial, we can also think of giving the campus touch, and actually give equal weightage to all the buildings, be it a utility building, a service building, or an office building. On the left side, I think you see the particular section that we detailed out, where we have that kissing of steel and concrete. And thanks to Zamil, that again, they brought the sheet down, and then we had special flashing made over the wall to put the water down onto the terrace, and then it was drained out. And that's the reason it is never leaking whatsoever. This is an interesting office building, and I believe we got the ICI, the Indian Concrete Building Award, basically because of this particular building that we raised. It's again a combination of the black glass and the red against the greens of the landscape, and then we have about 7.5 meter cantilever space frame. Along with that is a glass on the top, and that's how the light gets filtered and creates some play of light and shadow on the grounds. And we also have an atrium in the center with skylight from the top and a space frame on the top. We'll just visit that as well. And there is a green wall welcoming you as soon as you enter the building. So that's what I was trying to explain to you. An atrium with the space frame on the top, a big span, and specially designed with a proper detailing and the design which was given by us to them. And then the entire building, the entire office building was air conditioned. The atrium was not. it was exposed to the sun, and we tried to take the hot air out. So there was a detailing done. Uh, a lot of detailing actually goes down into it, and it's very, very interesting to do that. These are very close views of that cantilevered entrance canopy which was in space frame. And this picture also shows you, what space frame we had onto the atrium part, and where, both of them play together hand in gloves. And this is actually a backdrop for the name of the company called Koni Cranes. So such a beautiful entrance that we could carve out, and we also actually married it with the front landscape, and the logo stood out there. So this is really highly appreciated by the Finland people, and they love to do that. I believe if you get time to visit their office in Finland, this building photograph is very much there at the reception. This was the other unit which we called it as a J1. It was an old WMF factory which we took over, and the condition was that, they told us that this building ultimately at the end of the day should look like a family member of J2. So whatever, the kind of architecture that we used in J2 should be replicated in J1. That is what they actually gave us. And that's where, you will find that the similar thing were done again. Of course, we had to strengthen certain columns. We had to do a lot of work on the steel. We had to add on the gables in a very interesting fashion. We changed the entire sheeting to galvalume sheets. We added those beautiful red strips there, and then it started looking the same as that of J2. And this is also a picture where we did not leave the rear wall or the rear side also. Normally people would leave that out, but we continued with the same kind of canopies and the same kind of cladding of sheets there. So in this particular building, the 3 Rs was the principle, as I say: redesign, rebuild, and refurnish. And refurnish as if it's absolutely new. We also did a lot of work there in the interiors, as I said. As far as the roofing was concerned, the earlier photo on the top shows, how was the poor lighting there. We converted that into adding on some roof lights, and then we actually dealt with the floor as well. We had a rubbish floor there, which we removed the entire floor. We had a new Trimex laid down with Baker steel fibers, and we also went for the topping of epoxy. And we, of course, relayed all the machineries that were there in their Bhandup plant. And of course, it was a tough job to be done. We had about 7 engineers and architects every day at the site. And this is ultimately, what the drawing that we had presented to them, that this is how it's going to look like once these things are done, set right. A lot of details went into it. We also modified the downtakes details, which were not in place those days, and also modified the window details, which I have explained to you. The window top detail, we had that soffit panel coming out from the flashing at the top of the window. And then we, of course, had to actually, as I told you, we broke the flooring. We had to actually redo all the casting of the various foundations, for the heavy machines that were there. And the building steel played a huge role in this. Then at the end of the day, we could deliver them both these projects, which have become landmark for themselves and probably landmark as far as industrial architecture is concerned in the world. And thanks to Zamil that they really went on with all my ideas and dreams, and they went on doing a lot of homework out of the books, and really put in tremendous efforts. Thanks once again for patient listening, and we are always there for all those projects that come in. So, friends, architects should venture by using steel as a major building material and empower it with aesthetical aggression to make imposing composition, is what my punchline is. Steel and other metals and other alloys are going to be the players of the game. And please be alert. Try to keep your creativity on, and I'm sure you will create something wonderful and great. Thanks a lot once again. Over to you, Vasudev.
Yeah, Mr. Vasudev.
Yes.
Yeah, please, please.
Vasu, you may have to go to the slideshow or a full screen.
Yes, sir. No, I'm unable to see myself now. Show grid video.
No, we can see you.
Okay. But are you able to see the presentation?
Yes, we are able to see that. You just only do one thing, go to the slideshow.
Can you see this?
Yeah, we can see, but either put on a full screen or a side slow, Slideshow, if you put it.
Yeah, I clicked that.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Now it's okay. Now it's perfect. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Uday, sir. Prashantji, very nice presentation. Good evening to everyone and welcome to the technical presentation on this manufacturing complex of Konecranes. Here the contents will be, I will start with the overview of this project and the procedure we adopted to execute this complex project, and then our technical inputs, our capabilities, and I will end up with our punchline. To start with, this is the aerial view of the plant after execution, wherein phase 1 and phase 2 both have been executed. This is totally around 21,000 square meters spread across 11 acres of land. This is most modern and first large and aesthetic complex located at this area in this India Developed Corporation. And this was in 2011 and 12. That time, not much of a development was seen. You can see when you go to the photograph, you can see here, there is no development at all. So this is an iconic project. And after that, the industrial development picked up very fast in this area. This project, as Prashant sir has said, is executed in 2 phases. The first phase consisted of the building with 2 bays of 26 meters each and with a length of 200 meters. And one of the salient features of this is that the multiple number of cranes in this, and also these cranes are having mixed capacity. The biggest one is, the largest one is the high capacity 50 metric ton EOT cranes. So there are 5 numbers in that. As you can see here, in one bay there were 3, and the next bay there were 2 such 50 metric ton EOT cranes were present. And afterwards, similarly, there were another 4 EOT cranes of small capacity, that is around 5 metric tons, and 2 each in each bay. And the more important thing is the wall mounted cranes. There are 4 numbers and each having a capacity of 3 metric tons. As Prashant sir has said, these are the first kind of wall mounted cranes used in even PB industry also, apart from Asia, in PB industries. Normally, majority of the industries don't use this because it requires a lot of precision design, and also there will be execution problems. But Zamil could cater to this demand also. And similarly, at the center, we are having the crane walkway provided and throughout the length of the building. This is to service the cranes. This is at the gable end. And before completion of the phase 1 also, the phase 2 also started, and simultaneously you could able to cater to this phase 2 demand also. Here, there were 3 bays of 26 meters each with a total width of 78 meters, and one side the full length is 140 meters, and because of an offset at one side, the length was 130 meters. Here also, there were totally 6 cranes present, and these are all again high capacity, that is 50 metric ton EOT cranes. And again at the gable ends, full length crane walkway to service these cranes for the maintenance. When you look into a typical cross section across the width of the plant, you can see here all the 5 bays with 90 number of cranes, of different cranes. One is you can see here these wall mounted cranes also, and the EOT cranes and the smaller capacity cranes also here. So the crane, as I said, is totally the building consisted of 11 numbers high capacity EOT cranes of 50 metric tons, 4 numbers of 5 metric ton capacity tons, and 4 numbers of 3 metric tons wall mounted cranes, but these are moving. And the another feature of this wall mounted crane is that the arm length, I will show in the next picture, the arm length of the this one is around 9.5 meters, that is a cantilever. Before going into this project, a lot of thought goes into execution. So Zamil Steel, over a period of 4 decades of experience, have developed majority of the property tools and design to execute such complex projects. The first one is called PIS, that is Project Information System. Here, all the data, that is the major data and including the minor data also from the contracts and everything is captured in this and passed on to the design engineering. These data includes the building height, width, length, base spacing, the column spacing, and up to the painting system also are included in this PI system. And after receipt of this project data, our design team scrutinizes each and every data. And if there are any more clarity required, the same thing is put back to the client through the area office. They are our nodal office. And after giving the clarity, then starts the real design. The first one is that the structure need to be modeled and need to be designed. For that, we use our proprietary in-house design tool called Aspire. This is advanced steel, as the name says, it is most advanced steel design and analysis. And this is the best suited one for the PB industry, because in this Aspire, the design is very easily done for the built up, as well as the fatigue analysis done for the crane members also. Normally, the crane fatigue analysis, you don't find in any third-party commercial softwares available in the market as on today also. Similarly, you have got another software for designing. It is called Easy Build. This is for the less complex and box type of structures. And in this, one can design a building within half an hour. And after the modeling and design of the structures, the main thing is the connection of these structural members. For that, we use another tool called Easy Connection. Here, all the connections are designed, like moment connection, shear connection, axial connections, everything is used in this, are designed using this Easy Connection tool. After completion of this design, modeling, and connection details, all these things are combined into a Word format. We call it as a Design Calculations DC. And this DC, along with the drawings, will be submitted to the client and for the approval. At the same time, the design team continues ahead with using another one tool called Project Estimator software. Here, all the components involved in the building are estimated based on the tonnages. And at the simultaneously, there will be meeting with the client for the approval and any design clarifications. Once the design is approved, the first phase of design is over. Then the second phase is the detailed engineering, wherein again you have got another in-house software called August. Now it is called Easy Detailing with so many enhancements. And here, after giving the input, we can generate the shop and erection drawing very fast and automatically also without any errors. To come into this project, some of the major project design data are covered here. I'm showing that here. The first one is the material specifications. The first one is that built up members. They are all 345 MPa grade. Cold forms are also 340. Sheeting is 345. Rod and angle bracings and anchor bolts are all 250 MPa. The connection bolts are all high grade with class 8.8. And in this project, the design is done using the below codes. That is, the loads are all MBMA, built up and HR AIC codes are used. And AIC is used for the cold forms, and the welding is for the welding AWS D1.1. For these heavy 50 metric ton EOT cranes, the column required stepping. And because of that, the column's width increased, and it was seen here that these columns are literally 1.4 meter in width with stepped in the top. And both sides, you can see here the cranes for the 50 metric ton crane supports, crane beams. And at the center, there is a small stub this is used to support the roofing system. The right side one photograph here shows the column erection during installation, and the right one, extreme right one, the bigger photo shows after installation. Here one can see inside the small stub with rafters supporting the roofing system, and below that one is the stepped column with the crane beams for supporting that 50 metric ton EOT crane. And in our drawings, we also provide all the crane data, what we have used for the designing, so that this will be easy for the approval also. So what is the crane data used? Because this is one of the most crucial data as far as any design goes. Similarly, there was lesser tonnage weights, cranes also, EOT cranes, that is 5 metric tons. And these 5 metric ton EOT cranes are, these crane beams are supported using the crane brackets. These are fully welded to the columns. You can see here, typical our detailing on sketch. Here, the interface is fully welded, and also below the supporting the crane, there is a stiffener. For that also, there will be a welding. The right side picture shows the completed and installed crane beam for these smaller EOT cranes. And while designing and detailing these things, this project, there were certain challenges. The first challenge is the higher base spacing. Actually, the base spacing here varied from 10 meter to 14 meters. And as Prashant sir has said, when I discussed with him, he said that this was due to the client requirement that the crane can be taken out from any bay. That is what even in the end wall also, we don't have any end wall columns. There is a portal bracing given. And because of these higher base spacings, Zamir Steel has to design higher depth, that is maximum depth of 250 millimeter nested purlins and girts. You can see here in this right side picture. And the second challenge is wall mounted cranes. As I said, these are the first time a wall mounted, that too a moving one, is used in the PB structure. And here you can see where this clouded portion, these brackets are provided. Normally for any cranes, there will be one normal wheel supporting crane is provided, but here it required two such crane rails. One is at the bottom and another one is the side where there will be a side thrust. I will show in the next picture how exactly it looks, those wheels. And the right side one is the picture from the erected, during erection stage, the crane beams have been installed for these wall mounted cranes. So here in the left side, here you can see a picture, typical picture of a wall mounted crane. Here, the arm is almost 9.5 meter length cantilever, and it has one support at the top. It is called a guide rail, and at the bottom, that is a main rail that is supported on the another crane. The one of the important factor in this is that there were no tolerance allowed in any of these wall brackets. And the second one is the stringent deflection criteria, that is for both locally as well as the globally of the structure. This is to ensure that even though globally the building also deflects, it may affect this wall mounted crane movement. That's what it was very stringent, and because of our design superiority, it is executed very well without any problem. And these pictures are taken after the installation of the cranes and during working. These cranes are successfully installed, and one can see here 50 metric ton EOT crane and also a wall mounted moving crane here. And the right hand side one, here it shows there is a wheel here and also in the top from the side. And here the crane beam is provided horizontally. The another challenge is at the gable end, we have provided full length crane walkways. And to access these crane walkways, architect demanded a spiral staircase. Normally, half landing staircases are provided in almost all industrial units, but here for aestheticity, a spiral staircase was provided, and Zamir could able to provide this made up of MS members beautifully as per architecture requirement. And these are certain pictures taken during the installation or erection of the building, and finally during operation stage. Also, to harness the natural lighting and to reduce the dependency on electricity consumption, architect demanded that roof has to be provided with a minimum 5% of skylights. Accordingly, 5% of the total roof area we provided the skylight, and it is during daylight. There is very less dependency on the electricity consumption, and it provides the natural lighting. After plant completion, client wanted to harness the energy, renewable energy, and as per that, he provided the solar panels on the rooftop, and the estimated installed capacity was around 730 kilowatt, and it caters to 67% of the plant's energy requirement. Building aestheticity, Prashant sir has already covered it majorly, and here the aestheticity we could able to provide in different color shades. What you can see here is the one color, these two match the client's iconic colors requirement, and this is successfully executed also. Apart from that, Zamil Engineering is equipped with latest third-party softwares to enhance their design capability, engineering capability. And currently, we are having STAD Pro as a design tool. More than 90% of Indian consultants and designers use this tool. And Tekla, we are having that also as a BIM tool. And for connections, we are using three variety of the connection tools. That is Limcon, that is from Bentley. RAM is also from Bentley, and Idea Statica. And here, right side, you can see some typical pictures of the connections we designed. Recently, we completed a big project wherein the topmost one, it shows the STAD Pro model, and the middle one here is the Tekla model, and the bottom one you can see here, it is executed as detailed. And all such complex projects can be possible because of our most modern plant here, located here at Ranjangaon. Here, our fabrication strengths are almost all the equipments are present, and it can cater to any complex projects. And another important one is the Zamil's, our automated conveyor paint system. Here, there is no manual intervention when it comes to the painting. The components, building components are loaded in this conveyor system, and that undergoes the shot blasting. And after that, it will be painted and dried, and it can be shipped without any manual intervention. And also this painting can be as per the client's requirement can be provided. Now, recently, another aspect is that our plant is also has installed the solar panels on its roof, and we are harvesting around 1 megawatt, which caters to more than 80% of our energy demand at the production. And these are some of our esteemed customers, and majority of them are repeat customers. And also, when our association in the Kone Cranes project started with Prashant sir, this went on for long, and today, I think successfully in last 8 years, we are associated in more than 12 successful execution of plants and the projects. Before closing, I want to say one thing is that considering the design freedom, productivity, aestheticity, sustainability, innovation being achieved, steel is the way of life. Currently, in India, the per capita consumption of steel is hardly 6 kgs as per one report. This is much way below than the global consumption of per capita of the steel. So thus, steel will be the only way of life because of its flexibility, and also because of its ductility, and it can be used in any form. With this, I'll close my presentation. Back to you, Uday sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prashant and Vasudev. Now, before we get into a question and answer session, over to Andrea. She would like to make an announcement, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Requesting all the attendees to please participate in the poll and glance through the latest interactive issue of SSMB magazine, the link to which will be available in the chat box. Also, write your feedback to us at edit@mxbm.in. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. There are many questions, and I think some of them are, very interesting. So let me just start, taking it one by one. If I am unable to take any question, I would request the participants, please mail it to them. We will ensure that your questions are answered satisfactorily. And if not, please get in touch with either Architect Prashant Deshmukh or Mr. Vasudev Rao to get your answer properly and to the entire your satisfaction, The first question, I think Prashant, there's a question coming from Rahul. Why was a Gavian wall was used and what's the use of that,
Very interesting question. Am I audible?
Yes, yeah, please go ahead.
Very interesting question, although it has nothing to do with the webinar today. But basically, we compared, it was basically to retain that 10 meters of slope that was there. So obviously there would be a lot of filling in the soil. And as you know that when there is a heavy movement happening there with so many containers taking away 50-tonner cranes every day, I thought it is, we need to actually do it very carefully. So we had to actually go for a very strong retaining, the compound wall would become a retaining wall. And then our own structural designers talked about the RCC wall. Other option was given was plum concrete wall, but both the walls were very expensive compared to the length of the, it is something like 12 acres. So we had at least the 3 sides were supposed to be facing the retaining. So I thought that, we should go for something else. And that's where the McAfee, the Canadian technology came in. And the entire Europe has been using this technology of Gabion wall since 1800 something. And we are now into 19, and those days we were into, let's say 2000. And why not try with the Gabion technology, wherein the most of the height will be covered by the Gabion. They will allow the subsoil movement. Being a flexible member, and we'll allow particularly the water below the subsoil to move out from the open cores, because it is a dry stone masonry, and also along with the mesh, so it takes care of that movement. And we also had a lot of, I think Uday, you also asked me that question. Yeah, we took a lot of boards. We had a separate expert committee led by the Dean of the Pune University, ex-Dean, Dr. Bonde sir, and he actually took so many tests at various intervals of the entire happening, and we actually tested it in various labs to study the subsoil movement, and also take some remedial actions to see that the Proctor density is always 95 plus everywhere, and that is why the Gabion wall was introduced. We saved at the end of the day around 2 crores of rupees, which we ultimately spent in the interiors of office building. So, at times the budget was anyway there. We proved to the client that we are going to save money, but it is not for you to take home. That money will be used for converting the interiors of the office building.
Okay, now I don't know these questions either Prashant or Vasu, any one of you can answer. How can we estimate a cost of steel building? That's number one question. The second is the grade of the steel which was used and the steel design code.
Okay, I think I will partly answer this. This is regarding what was the first part?
First is that how can we estimate the cost of steel PEB building?
Right. So I will only from the architect's perspective talk about the factors that affect the cost of the steel there. Number one would be the span of the bays or number of bays that you go into. Number two will be the cranes if there are going to be there. And number three is the height that the production hall requires. So I think 3 major factors will affect the consumption of steel down the line. And also the lateral spacing of columns, which unfortunately we went for 10 meters or 12 meters, which makes the heavier purlins there. So it can be reduced. I think the economical spacing is around 7.5 meters. So if you do that 7.5 meters, we can save quite a good amount of steel. So this is, I think, what as far as when we discuss with PEB guys, these are the points normally that we discuss.
Okay.
The rest of it, I think Vasu can take over.
Yeah, Vasu, what was the basically grade of steel used, and what is the design code which was used?
Yeah, actually, there are 2 types of steel members used in this. One is for the built up. These are all our normal MS steel.
Yeah.
And that we have used as 345 MPa grade. 345 grade, we call it. Because their minimum strength will be 345. Okay. And there will be another cold form. And for the cold form, that is 340 MPa.
Okay.
And currently we are going up to 410. We are using currently 410 MPa.
Okay. Just one more question. What was the steel quantity per square meter of plinth area?
Yeah, that's a tricky question, I suppose.
You know, I just wanted to put this question, you know, just to know also from architect as well as the, you know, and fabricator and erector point of view, that do you have any thumb rule or it purely depends on it? Because the following question which will come from me is there any flexibility available in your design? I can understand that it's very difficult of a per square feet plinth area to be given, because it will purely depend on the load, what load is we are going to design. So is there any flexibility available in your design? You know, in case if there is load further going to increase, how do you take care of that? You know?
Frankly speaking, see, PB market is very competitive.
Yeah.
So you cannot have any cushion. So that is why I told you, as I told you, the first tool in the PIS, whatever the detail you give it, for the detail you give the optimum estimate, optimum design. There will not be any cushion. So in future, there will be any load that need to be told to us only before design. Once it is designed, completed, erected, you cannot do anything in that, except later on the strengthening of the building.
Okay, okay.
Uday, I think in one of my projects, I tried a little bit. This was for Bharat Forge, where you know, I took the columns up to 3 meters. The factory inspector wants a wall up to 3 meters. So these columns were taken in up to 3 meters in concrete. What we call as a pedestal column. So the same columns were raised up to 3 meters, and then we had caps designed in concrete, it's RCC itself, and then the base plates and the things were embedded within that. I think there was a saving of steel because we raised the concrete up to 3 meters, and it also gave me a lot of other flexibility in terms of production planning and design. So actually the steel started from 3 meters upwards. Of course, being a forging plant, it's full of steel everywhere. But still we could reduce, I believe, I think it is to an extent of about 5 to 10% of the steel quantity.
Any one more that have you used any of the 3D modeling in this project?
Yeah, we did definitely use it. We had a lot of views, internal and external, but I am sure Vasu will clear that they also did that. And normal procedure is that we actually give some basic drawings and basic designs to the PEB people, now that they have been working with us for years. So they actually then process it out from the steel perspective, and of course using the loading factors and all that. And then actually all the GADs are given back to us for you know, checking and confirming. So I think we do that to and fro exercise. We take a little more time in finalizing the design aspect, and rather, you know, because the manufacturing and erection, I think they are pretty fast, and though that thing will not take much of time.
And so how about in any particular software which was used for this 3D modeling?
Actually, this was a quite old one, 2011. So that time, the design and the detailing was done using 2D only. Currently, for all the jobs, projects, we are using 3D modeling, both design as well as the detailing. For detailing, for 3D modeling, we are using the BIM model called Tekla.
Okay, great. Okay, how about this one more is how about the rainwater which is collected and disposed at the roof junctions? Is there any particular design aspects for applied to that?
Yeah, from design point of view, Prashant, I will talk and then later in support. See, from design aspects, the rainfall intensity is given. Say like 150 millimeter per hour. So we design what could be the size of the gutter, either valley gutter or the eave gutter, and the downspouts. And further, I think Prashant sir has already given in his presentation how further they are drained off using the underground drainage system.
Okay.
So I can explain that you know, we did take those downtakes from the valley gutter. The valley gutter, of course, sizing were done by Zamil designers, and then we had the downtakes which were taken to the stormwater gutter, which was hidden totally. But nowadays we also have what is called as a header pipes, and that means from the gutter we take it to the headers, and the headers are given a little more slope towards both the ends of the gables, and then they are taken out, the water is taken out from there. And I feel that that system is more workable, and in fact the floor level is not disturbed at all. So that is a new addition to it. We are trying to do it by using some new products that have come into the market, like the Gabriel people have come out with very thin pipes for drainage and things like that. So I think there's a lot of scope to redesign these aspects and
Yes.
improve the drainage system, because that is a very critical part in production area.
Actually, currently in our some of our projects where the length is very large, there we are providing this header system. They are just below the valley gutters.
Now, what was the erection? What was this? Another thing is, what was the erection duration? Was it done in phases? How was it done? Was it in a phases, or it was done at one, this one? And what was the duration of the each phase, you know? I think probably Vasu, there's some connection problem. You are there?
Yeah, I'm there, very
Yeah.
much here.
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me? That, you know, what about the erection duration, which was there? Was it in phases, or how was it done?
The erection was a continuous process. Actually, it starts from one end, actually, from a braced bay for the stability purpose. And it goes on like that. I think it took 2011 end we started. I think 2012 mid, I think erection was completed.
Okay. There's another one which is there is, does this have a flexibility or a scope for expansion lengthwise?
Yes, definitely. You can,
Okay.
yeah,
it can be, yeah, it can be expanded, you know.
Yeah.
So basically there are a lot of, you know, technical questions related to the loads, related to the design criteria. I think that is more, we can directly get into that touch with the, you know, either architect Prashant Deshmukh, they will be able to do that. There is another which is, which one is there, that how do we see going forward the PB structure to become more and more, you know, common in India, you know, than what is presently being done, you know?
Yeah, very nice question. Prashant, sir?
Yeah, I believe that, you know, it has already caught up the market, and I think everybody talks, whether he's really a PEB guy or not, he says that I'm doing PEB. So sometimes I keep smiling at them. See, basically, PEB is based on the softwares which make it more critically designed and economical. And what people are talking about, that they have done PEB themselves, or they normally have some kind of a welding unit or some kind of a cutting, some few machines here and there. They are not really, see, if you look at the people like Zamil, I think it is a total art, more than pure mathematics. It is beyond that, wherein proper welding needs to be done, proper cutting needs to be done. The ship shapes can be also achieved, and their fineness can be done. And then ultimately there is a big art of erection. You know, because if you ask me, we have done about 1.5 lakh square feet in a flat span of 3.5 months in Ranjangaon MIDC. Now, we have done similarly 45,000 square feet in 45 days. But this is all happening because the PEB has come because a lot of time can be saved. Time can be saved in design, time can be saved in actual fabrication or actual preparation of fabrication, and then erection. So, you know, it is actually, we are talking about saving of time. And if we can do that, and there were a lot of criticism that this is going to be expensive. But I mean, I have proved many times that it is at least saving 15% of your entire steel that you use conventionally. Apart from that, you get a machine finish. Apart from that, you get a perfect engineering. So if that is there, I am sure that the next future, I think down the line, 3 to 5 years down the line, you will not find conventional welding happening anywhere. Anywhere in India, any conventional fabrication or such kind of things will never happen. It will be all about PEBs, because they can always modify. I mean, they also need to do a lot of homework on their softwares. Like Zamils have brought in their own software. Similarly, I mean, they can improve, they can add on, like, you know, most of the softwares have. They need to upgrade their softwares to suit the demands of the market. I mean, whatever the architects will come into. And more and more when we are working on the digital architecture, I think more and more there is a demand for different kinds of chips and shapes as far as the steel structures are concerned. Yes, over to Vasu.
Yeah. I want to add some more points.
Yeah.
Is that actually PB structures will be the way of life in future, because our conventional structures normally use hot roll sections
Okay.
first. So they are very much heavy on the steel consumption side. And PB structures are very lightweight. And second thing, they can be designed and fabricated at one particular place. It cannot be spread all over this site. So it is done everything under controlled conditions. Because of that, it ensures timely deliverables and also quality. And majorly what happens to suit at site. So these are all made into components and they are erected at site using all these components are assembled using nut and bolts. There is no welding at all at site. So this actually goes further into the speedier erection of the buildings. Actually, recently, some 6 months back, we completed one project within a span of right from design till erection within a short span of 4 weeks. This is our achievement. So all our building and components and everything is designed and then fabricated in controlled conditions. That is why even factory inspectors, when these clients visit our factories for inspection of all these components, you don't find any problems because you have got majority of them are all automated machines like auto weld and all those things. You can weld all these things without any manual intervention. Quality is 100% ensured. And second important thing is that, most important is that the size of the building. Currently, we are going up to a span of 100 meters in the width. So this one building, suppose you go for say one small, say like a warehouse type of a structure. Okay. So from one end to another end, the span will be 100 meters and this can be used for multi-purpose. Say suppose you can lease it to for warehouse and later on you can give it to even for a production unit. But you need not have to touch the exterior columns. Only you have to do any internal modifications. And after all thing is done, you can simply take out all those things. Your building stands as is. This is one.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah.
There's one more technical question. What was the deflection, design deflection? And have you really seen that? What was the parameters used for that? And did you check after the erection was over whether the deflection was within the permissible limit?
Yeah, our deflection criteria we follow as per the codal provisions. But since here in this project, there were wall-mounted moving cranes. So that is what we had a discussion with the Prashant sir, and we further limited that. And finally, now all the things are actually this can be checked at site also. This must have been checked that I need to check the data with my erection team. But after the installation and commissioning till date, there are no issues at all, either no vibrations and no problem at all in the crane movements. That itself shows that there is no such deflection problem in this project.
Now, the question to both of you, what was the basically innovative methods or innovative criteria were used for optimizing the both construction cost, erection time, and have you really compared that with your original estimate and after completion, did it really had any kind of an impact on that?
Sir, the variation is only 3%.
Okay. And what was have you done any kind of an innovative thing which right from the beginning, which you felt could really be an advantages to your client and also in general to see that how you'll be able to have a cost, basically a optimization in the cost,
If you're asking me, sir, then initially we do the preliminary design and we give the estimate to the client.
Okay.
And after that approval also, then we need to fit all our designs and all our supply within that estimate. You cannot exceed that. So all these things are taken care of during estimation stage itself. So that is what our estimates are not in the variation of 1% plus or minus 1%.
Okay. Is there any way which you could optimize the steel in the entire project?
Yeah, that is what actually the optimization can be done in the PB buildings. If you look at those rafters, so normally in what happens in hot roll sections, it is throughout the same section. If you see our rafters, they are all made up of built up members. Where there is not requirement, the beam depth is less and even the flange thickness and the bottom flange thickness also less. And where it is required as per the design point of view, there it will be more.
Okay.
So this is how we can optimize in each and every member. Unlike in the hot roll sections, throughout it is the same depth and throughout the same sizes, and that is a waste of steel.
Okay.
That's an optimizer.
Yeah. What is the toughest challenge, both of you faced in this particular project individually with respect to the design and aesthetic, bringing design and aesthetic together, and also while erecting and fabricating,
Yeah, I think, because if you see the master plan, the building is quite huge. We covered almost to the last inch of what was allowable by MIDC.
Okay.
So that actually gave us a big challenge. And I think most of the buildings we erected almost together. Although a little bit of phasing here and there, but we almost erected them together. And a lot of services also were there, which were being run simultaneously. So there was hardly any space to move about, and that really required a lot of planning from the project management perspective. And this was done, of course, by actually taking the office building in the end. But the utility building had to come simultaneously. And the service building had to come along with the PEB building because there were many junctions and many things that were supposed to be done. So we needed to actually plan it on, we work on MS Project softwares. So we had to actually plan it. We used to conduct regular review meetings with the clients and most of the agencies. Believe you me, we had about 27 agencies at site, including the civil engineers, including the flooring guy, including the PEB persons, including the various utilities, even landscape, interiors and whatnot. So we used to conduct this meeting, would go for a day, and whatever we target for the next week, I think we used to probably get through it almost to the extent of about 80-85%. Only the change of decision normally, as we all know, takes a little bit of extra time. And that's where the slope of the ground created a big issue. We had to do a little bit of research, and finally we went into a combination of, the compound wall, regular compound wall with a gabion wall. So, but I think if these things can be worked out, I thought that these were the challenges actually as far as the project management was concerned. May not be as far as the architects are concerned, but it was a big challenge in the PMC where we needed really to coordinate with so many agencies along with very stringent, clients like, as you know, the Germans and the Finnish people. They absolutely want 100% the same and not 19 Bs as we call it here in India. So that's what I would say.
Just one which is there, that could you please throw some light on GRIHA, G-R-I-H-A, GRIHA compliance of the PEB structures?
Yes, Vasu.
What is that, sir? What is that? Can you repeat, please?
Could you please throw some lights on GRIHA, G-R-I-H-A, compliance of PEB structure?
GRIH, sir.
Yeah.
So are we talking about the GRIHA thing for the green?
Yeah, GRIHA thing. Absolutely, you're right.
Okay. So I don't think there is GRIHA is trying to restrict on PEB buildings at all. Why they should? When you see GRIHA, any part of all these sustainable organization activities is actually to use the natural material to the maximum best, and whether the reworking is possible. So the guy who has asked this question, I would love to say that a PEB technology is the one where I can reuse the entire building if I desire so. I can shift the entire building and place it on the other side without wasting, I think, not even 10% of the material that is gone into this building. So the reuse and recycle is something which actually PEB gives us. In the conventional technology, it may not be possible to that extent. Whereas in PEB technology, it is all possible. And that is why I think is also another supporting element to the GRIHA. Of course, this building, we have not gone into the GRIHA thing, but I have also done many buildings where I got the GRIHA and IGBC right up to platinum rating.
Actually, one of these conditions is included in ISO 9001 also, sir, actually. So they ask whether this material is recyclable after the plant life is over.
Yeah.
So when we are giving the design warranty or even stability also, we are giving that this is part of our certificate itself, that these material used in this are all recyclable.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it complies to that GRIA.
Okay, there's another one which is there. The PB is not a symmetrical. So what measure you take to control the additional torsional and rotational movement which are generated at critical stage in the structure?
I don't know what exactly, which portion is talking about torsion and all, whether it is in the column or whether it is in the beams.
Generally, it is in the column and beam or at any place. How do you really take that care of,
Actually, during the design stage itself, we check for any torsion, induced torsion.
Okay.
And suppose if it is in the column, okay, we check for torsional resistance also.
Yeah.
These are part of the design. We definitely take care of the torsion.
Okay. Okay. There is another one. What was the permissible stress of the fatigue load?
Fatigue load. No. We need to check.
Any specific you remember which you have considered it?
It is as per the codal provisions. There is a calculation in that. So as per that, we need to actually should not exceed the yield strength of the steel.
Okay, fine. And what is the capacity of the wall crane, you can use on this particular design, or how many wall cranes were also used?
As I already covered in my presentation, 4 wall cranes were used and they are having 3 metric ton capacity.
Okay. And any other very specific feature which you feel is, is used in this particular project, which you certainly mention in both of your presentation, that this has been done, but any specific feature which you would like to highlight, which is generally not there in many of the projects,
I would say that as far as PDA designs are concerned, it is always the continuous glazing which gives equal light inside the production area at the production level. Now, most of the time you will see a lot of industrial buildings. They still use the brickwork, and then they go for lintels, and then they provide the windows, and the window is in the center portion normally, and the rest of the area is walls. Now that will create a shadow portion inside within the production area, number one. Number two, the moment you go for lintels, you are likely to have the props there for another 20 days, which is going to delay the entire project. And number three, it also creates a lot of maintenance issues. And again, when it comes to GRIA and sustainability, the glass is also one of the most sustainable elements. So that is, I think, is one of the unique things. We also actually worked on flooring in a great way, as compared to the load onto it, the moving load onto it. We went for the optimum size of the trimix. We did not go for steel reinforcement in the trimix floor. Because as per the technology, it is not there. We actually have to take care of the shear, which we did it by using the Bekaert steel fibers. So they actually were supposed to take the care of the shear, and therefore even after so many years, we don't find any single crack onto the surface in the production area. So that is where, these are few differences that I normally observe. And the third part is the downtakes coming from outside.
Okay.
PB normally have their own special square tube type downtakes, which of course they have designed it very nicely. But the downtakes coming at about 5 meter or 6 meter interval becomes an eyesore as far as the elevations are concerned. And therefore, I always believe in taking them from inside with proper detailing, so that there is no spillage of water anywhere. And then you take them out, at the plinth level, and provide for a stormwater gutter, and that takes care of the rainwater and all that. So I think these are few points which make our industrial buildings, they're fetching business for us.
I think the majority of the questions, now have come in. There are a couple of more questions, but which are highly technical and more design related. I would request that those can be directly answered. Now, there is one very general question which I would like to, probably ask you. One is there that, of course, this has also been posted. Do you know that any particular residential building which has been done with the fully steel structure,
Yeah, you want to answer Vasu first, then I will also answer.
Vasu?
Yes, sir. One building, such building is executed in Kerala, and
Yeah.
one I have seen at Bandra in Mumbai.
Okay.
Some 5 years back. They
Okay.
have been executed.
We have experimented this, I think, many times, but not exactly for residences, but moreover the similar kind of use. And now also currently we are doing one in Mumbai, which is G+5, I believe, for the office building, and including toilets and staircases and everything. So because compared to the industrial structure, the spans are less, and there is no harm in getting into the steel kind of framework and getting into the deck slab or whatever it is. So we have done these experiments, and it's quite economical, it's quite faster, and it's quite simple.
So I think, with this, if you would like to add anything else or any very specific, thing would like to make. Otherwise, it was quite a informative session, and I really feel that such kind of a program or such kind of an projects, if they are more sort of shown or probably they are highlighted, it would really be a great to the industry, because what we are looking at it. Let me be honest with you. Post this, whatever now is happening in this COVID era, a lot of people are only talking about a subject related to the management and kind of a thing. But let me tell you one thing: we are going to go back to our roots. Unless there is a proper engineering, or unless there is everything, nothing is going to work.
Yes,
So
sir.
finally engineering. You probably all we must be knowing that we had lost an engineering, particularly civil engineering, almost for a decade. Now the time again is going to come, if we have to build back the infrastructure in the country, which is going to the backbone of the development of this country, we will have to get back. So I am really thankful to the MX Media for organizing such an informative and a real case. And that real case is very, very important, because that is what is shown that it can be done. There are a lot of theories, a lot of things can be done, a lot of imaginative, but once it is on the ground, things can really be shown to the people. And this is one of the, I would say, a best foot forward for showcasing such a world-class manufacturing complex. And with the two big name in the industry, architect Prashant Deshmukh and the Zamil Steel, both have done an excellent job in this particular project by showcasing is not only to the our Indian sort of an population, but also to an international partner, that yes, we can do facilities which are equivalent or maybe better than the world-class standard. Thank you very much, Prashant and MX Media and Vasudev, for organizing such a beautiful and wonderful webinar on this technical subject of this.
Pleasure.
Yeah. Carol or Andrea, yeah, please.
Yeah.
Prashant, sir.
I first this thank all the. Yes,
Carol, before we conclude, I have one small question to the panelists. Most importantly, what are the key challenges post-COVID that you seriously feel the industry is currently facing, and maybe if you have some way forward to overcome these challenges, if with the panelists can discuss that, share their views.
Avneet, if I can tell you, in the industry which now looking for a construction, real estate, of course, the entire, whether it is all related to the construction industry,
Yes.
And when I look at it, the construction industry is presently going to a very, very challenging time. There are a couple of reasons for it. One is that though we call it that there is a lot of demand, right? But there is also, and that demand, how do we meet that demand? See, if I look back little about 15 years back, we could see that there was a lot of power plant under construction. There were a lot of manufacturing facilities were under construction. There were a lot of fertilizer and all have come to an virtually standstill, right? What has happened that we have stopped our core thing of a manufacturing, right? Now this opportunity, which we know what is happening with our neighboring country, which we are looking at it, what is happening. Now this will give us an opportunity going forward, that we start the manufacturing correct? Not only, and I tell you, right from the small scale industry to a large scale industry, we should make our manufacturing. Then what will happen? We will have a lot of scope for the construction industry, and with the construction industry coming for a particular and steel, if I took a steel structure and kind of a thing, that will gain more momentum, because the time and cost both will be there, a very much factor which is going to be there. The post-COVID impact is going to be certainly there, but I tell you, in a long run, and I'm not talking a long run of a 10 to 15 year, you will see how the construction industry will pick up in the next 3 years.
Fantastic.
There is going to be a huge demand of that is going to come, because we are predominantly going to now focus on the manufacturing. Both the industry bodies of the CII and FICCI are now only thinking, how do we augment our manufacturing capacity, whether in terms of automobiles, in terms of farm equipments, in terms of many other things, or many other things. How do we really do it? So Avneet, I am very, very optimistic about the thing, and it will really grow much faster. Maybe
we certainly look forward.
Yeah.
We certainly.
Yeah.
Vasudev ji, what are the key challenges we are facing currently?
Currently, we
Post-COVID.
don't have any challenges. Frankly speaking, when this unlock was announced,
Okay.
the day one unlock is announced, that for us it became post-COVID. So our plant manufacturing plant is very much active, because these restrictions are only within municipal limits and not beyond the municipal limits. Manufacturing units have been allowed to start. So once the unlock was declared, we started our manufacturing. We are going in full swing, and there is more demand. And our construction activities, that is our buildings at site and everything is going on in full swing. Currently, we are not impacted. Of course, further coming in the days, as Prashant sir and Uday sir is also telling, there is more scope for BEB, PEB, and definitely the business looks very bright on this side.
Prashant ji, any input from you in terms of challenges?
Yes. I think a similar scenario. I thought people were starved for 3 months, almost 3 months, and there is a big pressure from all my clients on me. And I do not know how it is going to be on sites, because we still find the labor to return and things like that. But the demands are there. The demands are rising, in fact, because they were compressed. And people wanted to invest, people wanted to do so many things. Yesterday I just went to Hiranandani Warehousing Park, and a lot of works are being done there. And they told me that now we are short of 3 months. So there is going to be a big challenge in terms of time management, in terms of quality management and issues such as that. And if we can resolve these things, then I think, we will definitely get this business. But that is a challenge. I mean, we need to put in a lot of hard work over the big holiday that we had. And once we succeed in that, I think there's a lot of work and, good future to see, as even Uday said.
Any specific industry you're anticipating will have more potential to grow in next couple of months? Particular in the sense,
I believe from architecture perspective, it is the health. It is
health sector.
And hospitals that will be in big demand. Most of the places, and anything that is concerning the health issues or the wellness issues. I think what is coming up in big way with government support also.
Only there's one biggest challenge which I personally feel is going to be there is of a migrant labor. That is going to be the biggest challenge for the construction industry, which will probably take a industry little back for next couple of months, And in that, if I take it, if you just give me a minute, I will just say, see, there are both pros and cons of this particular migration which has taken place. One of this migration will also make it good for a different state to develop, so that we will have less people coming to a big cities. So one is that will be an advantage, so that those states also will develop. It will not be concentrated to one thing. But the immediate or the near-term impact is going to be there, because those states will take some more time for the development. So the near-term impact will be there. If there are a shortage of those kind of a manpower, it is going to directly impact how do we really expedite the progress of the work at the city.
Udayji, quick question. Which sector you feel there will be more demand coming in? Residential, commercial, manufacturing, warehousing? What is
I
your
would,
take?
yeah, if you go for me, the warehousing is going
Okay.
to be the biggest demand. Then
Fantastic.
there is going to be a manufacturing. I would say the residential is going to be there. Commercial is also going to be again in less. The warehousing and the manufacturing is going to be a good demand going forward.
Vasudevji, last final input from you, and then I will hand it over to Carol. Yes.
Yeah, this is regarding the forthcoming. What I feel is that almost all the sectors are going to grow. Those which are not supported by the government, yes, they need to pull up their socks. They have to grow on their own. And now, importantly, what is happening currently? This COVID is a best experience to learn. Earlier, it was all one-to-one contact. Now there will be more e-services.
Okay.
So because of that, there will be more demand for the commercial spaces also, low costing. And second thing, as far as this labor concerned, actually, Prime Minister has announced a scheme also wherein you can provide the smaller units of around 150 to 200 square feet to each labor. These are called labor colonies made out of the steel. And that also is coming up to boost the construction sector. So there will be infrastructure and there will be institutional, that is government supported projects and pharmaceutical and those which are relocating from the China nation. So we see a bright future. What I seen recently is that there will be a growth of around 12% in India. So I see almost all the sectors will grow, except automobile may struggle for 1 or 2 years, but later on that also is going to pull up with the green cars coming from 2025. Definitely, they are also going to come up very fast.
Fantastic. The future definitely looks bright. Carol, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I take this opportunity firstly to thank all the speaker and the moderator for making this session an engaging one and all the attendees for joining us. We continue with this knowledge sharing session next week. Webinar Sustainable Office Structure at VKC, a LEED Platinum rated project, which is an epitome of bold use of steel, a sleek look and making this and enhancing its structural strength and capacity. The link of the same is posted in the chat box. Please do register yourself and we'll see you next week on Friday, 10 July at 5 p.m. Till then, take care and thank you so much for joining. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you,
Take care.
everybody, for joining.